Marketing is nothing more than conversations with people. It just has to be the right conversations with the right people at the right time. We all need blocks of time each day that are our time. So what is your most productive time of the day? For most people, it's the morning. Even if we think we're night owls, for years I was convinced I was a night owl, probably because all my years with Tony Robbins, it was, night turned into morning and turned into the next day. But we often think it's that, but oftentimes it's the morning. So think about what's the most productive time of day that you have. And if you can block out, ideally 5 days a week, 2 to 3 hours a day, or even 3 days a week, block out 3 hours, go for the 3x3. Imagine how much you can get done. It's Tim Ferriss's theory in the 4-hour work week is that each of us really only have 4 productive hours a day anyway.
Reasons why, and so that you can, okay? If you have that done, you're gonna be ahead of 95% of every marketer on this planet. Every single piece of copy I ever write, I always answer, I either say, the reason why you want this is because, or the reason why you want Instant Customer right now is because you know that when this event is over with, you're not gonna follow up with most of the people that you got business cards from. That's why you want to scan the card or have them pull out their own mobile phone and text in right away, okay? Another one is, this is what virtually every amateur starts out with. They make this huge mistake, which is they go feature, feature, feature. It'll be like you get this, and you get this, and you get this, and they don't answer the so that you can. Okay, you have to tell people why they need it. So one of the things that we had in our last segment, with the instant speak and spell system, or speak and sell system, you get a 3-step fill-in-the-blank speaking system so you can speak with passion and present with poise. But if I would dissect every single bullet that I showed you in our last presentation, you would notice that I either answered a reason why or a so that you can afterwards. So what you want to do is have the viewer, the listener, project themselves into actually owning and experiencing what it's like to have that program or that product or whatever it is.
You've got to have a very, very simple core structure. So here's an example. Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever walked into a movie 20 minutes late and you have a sense that something really big is going on, like you see who the characters are and you get a sense that there's something big, but you don't really quite understand what it is. So you try to get into it and you kind of enjoy the movie, but you end up walking out of there feeling like you missed out on something because it didn't totally ever connect for you. Did you ever have that experience, anybody? And sometimes you even feel a little bit stupid because you couldn't figure it out. That's what happens with a lot of people's products because they don't have the distinctions about how to put them together in a way that's structured that people can really understand it. Or they try to take 20 or 30 minutes worth of information and spread it out over all this unnecessary bulk, and it confuses people. So the best example, the people we can learn from the most here, are children's television shows. They have spent millions of dollars of research on children's television and countless hours of testing to find out what makes children learn, what keeps them engaged, and what helps them retain what they learn. I mean, there's a reason that Elmo pops up at exactly the same point in the same way in every Sesame Street episode. It's not to annoy the parents, despite what we might think. So we have to do the same thing for adults, is how can we make our content compelling and actionable and easy for people to use, hopefully without the kind of creepy little furry red thing with the high-pitched voice. So don't recommend that. So it's about structure at the end of the day. And this is the thing that causes you to have refunds that are higher than they should be, that causes your customers to not follow through and have the results that they deserve to have, and most important, for you to not feel the win of putting your product out there and having it have the impact that you're looking for. It comes down to how you're structuring and putting together your product. I'm passionate about this because it's so simple. It's just a couple of distinctions, but most of us have just never been taught how to do it.
There you go. I can already feel a little shift. Do you feel that? Total change in the environment here, so have some fun. I wanted to begin, the very first chunk of this is about something I've been working on for a little while. I call it the big lever, and it's how to discover your manifestation machine. So it begins with something really cool. It is a line from Archimedes. Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, I shall move the world. Everyone here knows what a lever is. It is one of the simplest and the earliest machines ever created. Let's begin with a quick definition of what a big lever is from my point of view. The first idea is if you look at a lever, you have the beam, and that's the thing that gets under what it is you want to move, and then you have the fulcrum, which enables it to occur. And so that's the beam, and let's just say that is what you want to move, or the what, and the how is the fulcrum. All right? So a few questions to ask yourself right now about how to discover your big lever. First of all, determine what is your big vision, and ask yourself, what is my divine discontentment? What's driving me right now? What is it that I'm afraid of, that drives me crazy, that I wake up, that gives me pain every day? Because that is your strength. When you embrace it and you fall in love with it, it will dissipate. It doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean it's not dangerous. It just means it's present and you're aware of it. And by objectively accepting it, it gives you an enormous amount of power. Okay? Next, ask yourself, what or who must I get under to accomplish this vision? That's your beam. And then how do you move the beam? In other words, who owns the relationships right now? Who controls that object that if I do something for them, I will get in return, because givers get? Okay? This is a universal model. And whose big lever can I model? You don't have to figure this out yourself. Look around you. People who are successful already have figured this out. It turns out, as I've been interviewing more and more people, they're actually completely unconscious of what their big levers are. Okay? You have the opportunity to grab that power. I think the key thing here as I wrap up are identifying the most powerful influencers in a niche, figuring out how you can help them achieve a goal, make them a hero, turn them into transformational stories, and tell those stories online. And when I get into the celebrity or servant marketing, it doesn't mean you have to work with a movie star. It does mean that when you focus on the players, the influencers in a niche, they can open up doors for you didn't even know existed with one phone call and give you all the clients you'll ever need. And I think it's guaranteed to resonate.
A few weeks ago, I went back to my dad's house in Western New York State to help him pack up his house of 45 years and move to an assisted living facility in Boston, Massachusetts. And it was my house for 45 years too. I was born in that house. I grew up in that house. I graduated in that house. When I got married, we celebrated in that house. I celebrated holidays in that house. When I had my kids went to that house. And I watched my mom die in that house in the family room 4 years ago from cancer. And so it's more than a house to me, it's a home. And it's where I had always drawn my strength and confidence for 45 years, from the very roots that my mom and dad laid down for me in the foundation of that home. So packing up that house for me meant saying goodbye to my mom all over again. It meant having to come to terms with all of my past and all of the lessons that had occurred there. I mean, when I was little, that room on the top left, that was my bedroom. And whenever I had a big test or a big event or a play or a concert or something, I had this ritual, and I would kind of stand at that bedroom door window, and I would look around my room, and I'd look at the big yellow teddy bear I had on the bed, and I would just kind of say to myself, you know what? Whatever happens, I have this house to come back to. I have my family to come back to. I had my first kiss on the front porch, right there. Exactly. And I still remember to skip the 9th step when I walk up the stairs because it creaks loudly. So as a teenager, I didn't want my parents to know I was coming in so late, so I still had a habit. It's a habit to skip that step. So it was a profound experience, packing everything up in that house and really thinking about what it had meant to me. And from my dad's perspective, packing up 45 years of his life and seeing that in a short period of time. It was physically intense. It was about 200 trips up and down the stairs every day, but it was also just emotional to go through that transition. So what I want to share with you are the lessons I gleaned from that experience. And I call them the 5 C's because I can't not chunk content, right? I have to organize content, so I put it into 5 C's. But the lessons are important because we're sharing so many business and marketing and product creation strategies and branding and storytelling strategies. But unless those strategies are really against a backdrop of what's important to you, in the context of what's important to you, then those strategies don't have the meaning that we want it to have for you, because your life comes first, and the business is an extension of your life.
I will begin with just telling you this brief story, which most of you know about. Is this last June, I was diagnosed with cancer, stage 3A, and what happened is for about 3 days before my biopsy came in, I literally didn't know if I had 3 months or 9 months or 3 years to live. And it changes your perspective very, very quickly. So, as you may have heard, I went through major surgery that was in July, chemotherapy, and radiation. And during that time, I had at most 10 to 15% of my normal energy. And there were times when I would go into the office just to check up on things and meet with my team, and I'd walk around with one eye open because that's how much energy I had. Otherwise, most of the time I spent in the fetal position. And what happened, not by my choice, but I would ask you this simple question right now, is what would happen right now if you couldn't participate in your business for 3 or 6 or 9 months? What would happen to your income, your life, and your business? Or better yet, what would happen if you had 1 hour per day to conduct your business and your personal affairs? What would happen right now? And that was exactly what I got to experience. And it caused me to rethink every aspect of my life. And what I decided to do is treat the 9 months as a vacation, because that's what I called it, my 9-month vacation. And I decided to reframe the disease, and I also thought about how can I turn this into a great story and tools and resources that I can share with people later on. And that's what kept me alive during that time, not to mention having a great support network, really kind people who were wishing me well and praying a lot. But during that time, with generally speaking an hour of functional skills a day, I managed to dictate a book into my iPhone, sent it off to be edited, and when we released that book, it became a bestseller. So that got written in about a month, and that was the Author Expert Marketing Machines book, which then turned into a multi-million-dollar franchise last year. So we managed to create a product and do a launch, and launch 2 bestsellers this past year, and that was pretty much with almost no energy. So what I can tell you right now is anyone can do it, and when you're put into a frame where you reframe your disease or your challenge, you can do anything. I'm living proof. But what I can tell you is you can be extremely successful no matter what your condition or what your situation is. As the interviewee, there is one person you're having a conversation with, and that's her. That's it. You never look at the camera unless, first of all, unless you know what the hell you're doing, and it's time. So let's say we're having a conversation, so say something.
So I'm talking to you about how handsome you look today. You're wearing my favorite color on you, which is blue, which is a great color on Mike. So what you want to do is when you're thinking about getting dressed. Okay. So
great. So what I'd do in this case is if I were speaking to you, I'd be talking to you just like this. And you'll notice right now that I'm going to look at the camera and say, one of the tips that I have is I'll go to so-and-so and I'll meet with them and I'll work with a dressing consultant or whatever it is. If I need to make an impact to the audience, I'll speak then. But know that that is a person, it is you, and this is a subject. It feels weird. Okay? If once I break state and I start looking at this camera while you're talking to me and looking, it's just freaking weird.
And I would also say that goes for the person doing the interview, because people always ask, what do I do while the person's answering the questions?
Look at whoever you're interviewing.
Well, you're in a conversation. What do you do when you're talking to somebody? You're looking at them. Yeah. So people get all weird about, is it okay to look at them? Just look at them and just respond as you would normally respond in a conversation. Mike taught me that. So.
Right. So we want to remember that we're having a conversation all the time, a conversation with a friend. This is a really important lesson I learned recently from a guy who owns a very, very successful agency in Los Angeles. And his definition of brand is to ask yourself the question, what would a friend do? Okay? And that should drive. So the answer to most questions in a business environment, in an interview environment, is what would a friend say? What would a friend do? And a friend sometimes says what needs to be said.
Very true. Imagine what it would be like to have your business set up so that you're not wondering, well, what product or service should I create? And what's the next one? And how do all these things go together? It's about escalation. And what escalation is, it's about starting at a certain level, not just in price. You're not just escalating price, you're escalating value. So how do you escalate your products or services? You've got to have a product path. Introductory content. You go after your market just by giving them content, free or low-cost content, specific content that really makes sense to them, that's going to get them to engage and invest in the next step. Then you've got your primary content. Usually this is just like one core product that you're known for. And then you've got advanced content, which is where you start to customize things and do individual training where there's more one-on-one and personal relationships in that process. So just think about it, okay, I've got introductory stuff, it's free or low price content that's leading to this main product, that's leading to some more advanced back-end things that are usually more customized and usually more personal. So here's an example, a kumquat. It is such a good example because if you can build a business out of kumquats, which you can, I'm going to show you how in a minute, you can build a business out of anything. So if I'm looking at introductory content, here's some of the things I might do. I might do a little video about how to eat kumquats. Anybody here know how to eat a kumquat? I eat the whole thing. It's the only fruit you can eat, skin and all. And what you do is it's sweet on the outside and it's nice and tangy and tart on the inside. So the way you eat it is you roll it between your fingers to get the juices flowing. And once you do that, you pop the whole thing in your mouth and chew it, and it's just this burst of tangy sweetness. So who here wants to try a kumquat? So, all right, I'm going to throw a couple out. So Mike loves it when I do this. So remember, eat it the right way, right? So I might do a video on YouTube that's how to eat a kumquat. Now, to be honest, there is a video on YouTube about how to eat a kumquat. Go there and look now. It's got, not right now, but later, go look. 89,000 hits. But the person who put it up there obviously doesn't know marketing because there's no call to action. There's no next step. 80,000 views, and he completely wasted the opportunity because there's no way to take advantage of the next step. So I might do an ebook on recipes. I might do an ebook on just the healing properties. I might do drinks, cocktail drinks you can make with them because you can make kumquat martinis. And I would just start, again, I'd pick, 4 or 5, and I would just put out these little pieces of content, a little video, a little ebook. You do that to set up your introductory content. Does that make sense? Then once you've done that, then you're going to drive all this content where? You're going to drive it to your list where you're going to make your primary content offering. So I have here a box of kumquat coolness. And it's 6 ways to grow, eat, and enjoy kumquats for your lifetime. I open this up, and inside my little kumquat, so now I'm in the primary offering, right? It's all part of the product plan. There's a plan behind this. Got a little welcome letter that tells them how to get the most out of this program. And I've got 6 DVDs. Introduction to the little gem of the citrus family, growing your kumquat orchard all season long. These suckers are hard to grow, man. Like, you gotta graft them to like sour oranges or grapefruits, and they're these little trees, right? So how to grow your kumquats. 21 recipes to delight your palate. Because there's so many things. Who knew? Did you guys know? Come on, that there were like 18,000 things you could do, like kumquat marmalade and jams and pies and drinks and all that? I had no idea. So that's that. Then I've got 4. Extend candy, preserves, marmalades, and jellies. I've got remedies and teas. Use kumquats to enhance your health and wellness. And then a seasonal guide to creating great decorating with kumquats. They come in these really green, laxy weed leaves, so people put them out at the holidays. They have this really pretty white flower, and people use them for decorations, again, because it's a symbol of prosperity. I've got a couple manuals in here. I've got a complete recipe guide. I've got the manual that goes with the videos, 6 ways to enjoy your kumquats. I've got a bonus for the kumquat serving tips. And I even threw in some kumquat jerky. Again, who knew they made kumquat jerky, right? I'm kind of scared to try it. So you've used all these little content gems to get people into the system to buy your main product. Then at the main product, in your main product, you're going to include 2 free tickets to a live event. So we've got the Kumquat Lovers Festival of Fun taking place in Naples, Florida. So please don't show up to Naples, Florida. There is no kumquat event happening there. I've actually had people say, where's the kumquat event? No, there's no event. Don't come. but you're going to drive people to the event. And then what are you going to do at the event? I'm going to see how well you guys are trained. What are they going to do at the event? You guys tell me. What are you going to do? No, you're not going to sell them more stuff and upsell. You crazy people. Have you not been through anything I've been teaching you? You are going to over-deliver on value. You're going to take care of them and make sure they have the time of their lives and get a ton of value. And then at the end, if they want more from you, which they often do when they get in front of you and they're passionate, they're often going to want to take the next step. From there, then you're going to make an offer to go further and deeper with them, and maybe, have them join your Kumquat growers group or join a Kumquat mastermind of, some of the growers who are working together. Now, by the way, a couple of things you should know about this. So that's how you kind of escalate your product plan. We had hundreds of people who were now able to, where they hadn't been able to find a solution before, live their legacy and build their dream. And for Mike and I, that's it. That's everything. Mike's mission is to create 1 million more entrepreneurs, and we're passionate about any tools and resources we can give people that can make that happen. And just thank you so much for giving your hearts while
Thank
you're
you.
here. Thank you.
So a big hoorah to you.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Hoorah! All right, thank you.